Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start the meeting by pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag We'll call all five council members are present. Next thing is considered minutes held from November 13th. There's a motion for approval of good. Second made. We have a second by Bob. All in favor? Thank you. Starting off with business tonight, Mr. Jeff Bonnet.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, how are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
How are you, Mike?
Could you rise and be there?
I just wanted
You know who you are. I know who you are.
Jeff Lines, resident of Oakland, 651 Longley Road. Just wanted to provide an update on the summer renewal that we're opening in Oakland to be issued here. We are pushing hard to have a soft opening by December 14th. Just talking with the home inspector that's like a really aggressive timeline. It'll be right in around there. Permits and approvals pending. But shortly after that, once we get completely up to speed, we'd like to have some kind of grand opening event, and it's most grateful to have the town council participate in that. And we'll provide some more detail as we go. So at the same property, we have Amanda Sawyer, who's also a Messalonskee grad, who's doing a great job getting together the final stages of opening. We're getting her shop ready for, it's called Greenlux, and it is a indoor plant and meat inspired gift shop. We've got two great business owners, Tiffany Lopes and Amanda Sawyer, that are teaming up there at the Main Street. So we'll start to see some activity tail end of this month.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations on after all that hard work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Next item up on the business is a downtown tip.
So we've received a facade application. I've given you all copies. It is from JB Enterprise, which is Mr. Don Ponitz's company. The facade program is for improvements, storefronts, windows, restoration, trim, facade. So the downtown TIF committee met. It was a unanimous approval for this. The ask is for $106,360. I know in the application it says payable over 2 years. I would like to switch that to 3 years, only because we only have $93,000 in that account right now. Every year when we commit taxes, that's when we get more money in that account. So by doing it over a 3-year period, it would be $35,453 a year that we would pay JB Enterprise. And they've spent well over this amount of money on the windows. Yes, Bob.
I'm a member of the downtown TIF advisory committee, and this is really an exciting adventure that the town of Oakland is on. Take excess increase in taxes in that downtown area and use it to help improve the downtown area, the buildings and everything in that area. Ponnett's family has become kind of the guinea pig to help us as they're trying to develop their property to help the town of Oakland get their TIF advisory committee in order, the rules and regulations. And we haven't even got that all done and wordsmithed yet. But the help from Ponnett's has been invaluable. We owe them a gratitude as well as ability access to funds that especially permitted to do windows and doors and whatever facade that building. This is a terrific opportunity that we have entered into as a town, along with the Clemens family. I just encourage the council to approve.
I had a question. Go ahead. Are all those pickup trucks and trailers and stuff on Main Street that are there all day, they all working on that property?
Everyone.
Place is full up there. If you go by during the day, they're all pickup trucks or trailers where they're coming in them. So you've got quite a crew working in there by the look.
Ever since I've lived in Oakland, especially since I've been on the council, the citizens all want downtown fixed up. They want it to be a downtown. And we've been trying that for, I've lived here for 40 some odd years and we've never really got very. Downtown is a challenge. It's a challenge for a number of reasons. No less than the railroad track that goes right through the middle and kind of makes it hard to do things downtown. And finally, 40 some odd years, I think we're really on the beginning of doing something. Don Honitz hadn't spent his fortune on this property. I'm not sure that we ever would have got any credit that we've done.
Improvement. Motion to make second by the.
We're going on a 3-year,
Question?
we're going on a 3-year plan.
3 years.
3 year. So. All in favor? Thank you. Next item up to talk about land use ordinance.
Yes, so. I can send this out in the packet, but didn't, our code enforcement officer named Smart is here.
And then you guys can copy this.
They did.
Yeah, right.
So I want to say a few months ago, we were talking about a camper ordinance, and I explained the LD 2003. I think Rob, you asked a question about that, the accessory dwelling unit. So once that was passed, on a state level, it was up to towns to adopt the new ordinance or to adopt this into their new ordinance. The LD 2003 allows, accessory dwelling units on a lot where it normally wouldn't be. The town of Oakland has a land use ordinance that says a lot has to be 30,000 square feet of 100 feet of frontage for one dwelling unit. If you're gonna be public sewer, 100 feet of public sewer, 150 feet of road frontage for septic. You know, what this does is it nicks that. You're allowed to put a accessory dwelling unit on a piece of property that normally you would just only have one dwelling unit. Of course, it meets the setbacks of the town's 15-foot from property line. It meets subsurface wastewater laws. I think it's have. Also, it doesn't supersede our sewer ordinance, which means that if you have an accessory dwelling unit on your piece of property, you can't tie that piece of property into the primary structure that's there sewer wise and run one line. You'll have to run a separate line to the main. So there are some things that doesn't supersede shoreline zoning. Shoreline zoning still does not allow accessory dwelling units. So we don't have any of that verbiage in our land use ordinance. So what we're doing is we're working with KB cog to put that in our land use ordinance. We're almost there, but we're able to like adapt, we're allowed to like do minimum, size of structure where it has to be bigger than 400 square feet, but it can't be any larger than 1,000 for whatnot. Like there are some parameters that we can set, but there's not much for that. So that's one thing that we don't have in our ordinance and that we need to put into our ordinance. So we're working with KB cog right now to put that into play.
We just wanted to provide you with an update, but we will be
Yeah.
doing a first reading and a second reading. And when was our last land use ordinance updated? 1990?
Oh, a long time ago. I forget the
It was
date.
94.
94.
Yeah, so,
Well, I don't know that for. A long time. But it's pretty cookie cutter, to be honest with you. But there are some things in there that we can. Like, as far as the SOPs, pretty much is what it is. But it's a law that they put into place, so we have to play by it. Which is a great opportunity for somebody to make, you know, a rental. And. So it is, and just because of the housing prices. Well, you're not that familiar with it, huh? Or you are now?
I wasn't on that committee that did the land, use thing, but I know that they. Statewide, they're trying to get more housing in smaller spaces,
Yeah,
and it mostly is in the southern part of the state.
Yeah.
Portland area, Scarborough and Saco. It, when the demand here is not that great, although there aren't a hell of a lot of homes. Sale.
yeah, it's becoming more. I mean, there are. Oakland's sort of unique in a way that we have a very small sewer structure. Right, so. For lots that are outside of our sewer system that have a septic. It's a little more difficult because the size of the septic, right? You have a 3-bedroom house with a 3-bedroom system. You want to put a 2-bedroom accessory dwelling unit on your property, well, it doesn't fit. So now you have to do something, either expand the system or septic, or it's just a little more costly. So I don't see the return on that unless you're building it for a relative or for your son or your daughter. Absolutely. But it does allow that. It eliminates the. Correct. Yeah, now it says that the lot has to be 30,000 square feet with 150 feet of frontage or 20,000 square feet. So it does supersede that. But as this goes on, like Kelly, it'll be fun for everybody to look at. Any questions? Yeah.
Does this have any relationship to the other ordinance that we've been working on in regards to recreational vehicles?
No.
Is
It
there
doesn't have anything in that. No, it's not anything to do with that.
Is it coordinated with that? Does it make?
There's nothing in there about that. No, I would say that. There are towns that have adopted a temporary use for, recreational vehicles. You can attach it to this, but this is just for accessory dwelling units. This is just LD 2003.
So the other one will come later.
That's what we wanna do.
Are we still working on that?
We'll kind of put it to bed for a minute. We're kind of working on this LD 2003 one right now. This is something that's a little more important.
So in essence, Nate, Dawn. They don't consider camp or an RV an accessory dwelling.
Oh, no, it's not a dwelling unit, it's a recreation unit.
So I was just trying to get to the point, where are we with the other one? Because we don't just put it right.
I put it to bed for a little bit right now, just because this was a little more important. This is something that happened to me, like we need to put this in place. So. Just gotta get the top. Yeah.
it's just something.
Thanks, sir. You're welcome. Next item up is the personal property claim.
So, we have 3 years of personal property claims that have not been paid, totals about $13,000. I would like to send a letter to each of these requesting payment if I don't get anywhere with them. I know we haven't entered in with a collection agency before. I guess I would want permission to be able to do that. We would lose a percentage of that 13,000 if they were to recoup it. But better than nothing.
Do they charge us for property that
This is just personal property.
But it's just the property of people that actually pay us, they get a percentage of it. So if we've got some people out there that never pay.
Right,
we
like I think there
don't
are
have to pay
two
them.
on here that are no longer in business, so. we'll have to- So that's gonna be one of my questions, are you no longer in business? And then we can write that off.
What they charge? Yeah,
It's a percentage, with it being 0.5. I haven't really dug into the
it's the mill rate.
mill rate.
It's no rate, it would be in charge of personal property. So, whatever the mill rate is, whatever the assess it is, that's what you get charged.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
It's for businesses.
For business, I know that, I have a business,
Yeah.
and they come in, they say your tax.
Evaluate whatever you're.
Evaluate what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I thought you were talking about what were the small claims.
That's what I heard too.
See, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's based on our mill rate. The value of your
Value.
property.
Yeah.
Your personal property. So
That's what I thought. That's in the letter.
So what you're looking for is permission to send a letter.
Send a letter to,
And to go to a collection
and
agent.
then say if it's not paid within
On which one? The,
all of them.
all of them? Oh,
Yeah, it's 2021, 22, and 23.
Didn't say well.
I'd make a motion, we give our town manager authority to do that.
Motion is made, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Mormon, all in favor? Thank you. Next up, managers report, first item on it, Ms. Solo Array.
I'm gonna let Nate handle that.
That's the one of the foreclosure or fire department.
Our department's easy, we sold their storage trailer for $5,000. And they're asking permission to use that $5,000 to buy a new one. And that's a little bit bigger, and the fire association would make up the difference of that, so.
I'd make a motion to grant them authority.
Motion is made, do we have a second by Mr. Nutting, all in favor?
Abstain due to association.
Dave, yeah, good, so.
Foreclosures. Last week we had a list of what, 18, I think, that we were gonna foreclose on Monday, the 9th. We're down to 2. One, I delivered today at 3:30. I went and spoke with the granddaughter, I believe. So hopefully, I said you have till Monday at 5. We're like, oh, so come pay it. And then the last one here on the list, they want us to foreclose on that trailer, so. The dad owns the land, and the son owns the trailer, but the son isn't around. Just wanted to update you on that,
What are we gonna do with the trailer?
probably
We're gonna take it and have to get rid of it.
we could put it out for sale. I don't know the condition of it. I don't think it's good.
That'd be an easy way for us to take care of their business, what that sounds like to me. Because if it's a trail that's not worth selling. But we foreclose on it for a mere $343, right? We close on it, then we have to go, we have to get our equipment out there, we have to get all our stuff out there, our guys out there work on it. If we take a
Or
look,
we list it and say it's for sale for $344 and somebody might buy it.
Yeah.
And fix it up.
Is it on a piece of land or?
It's on the father's property. So the father owns the land, this is just foreclosing on the trailer. And I know the police have had a lot of issues.
Where is it?
The Bill Road, or. Yeah,
Corners and really.
corner,
Yeah.
Right across the street from D&L Country Store, it's that trailer that sits right there, like, where you pull on
White.
Pond Road, D&L's to your left. Between those to your right hand side, it's a white trailer, Nelson's.
Is it worth $343?
For somebody, it will be my, not that bad, it's not an old 19, so, you know, it's a fairly decent structure, I think. I don't know what the inside looks like, it's $340 some odd dollars to make it quiet.
Yeah,
So,
we can just recoup what we,
Then the next thing though is if the father owns the land. And the father says, I want it off there tomorrow. Now what are we gonna do? Go back into debt to get it off the property.
no, that'll be up to the person buying it.
No, but if we buy it, if we foreclose on it. And we foreclose on the property, dad says, you own it, get it off the property now, Kelly. Like, oh, it's a lot of money, right? And what do we do with it? We pack it down on the transfer station, we pack it down, you know what I'm saying? So.
It's like, it's a process of close on something, you're not gonna right away.
it's a 30-yard way of coming it low. That's all that happened. Maybe work thinking.
Couple thousand. The town transfer, couple thousand.
Is it inappropriate to just do nothing? Is this $343, is that over 3 years?
No, that's 1 year.
1 year?
2022 is what we're foreclosing on Monday. 2022 tax.
So we asked the gentleman who owns it to sell it, ask him to sell
I don't believe he is, I think he's incarcerated.
Maybe if dad could find somebody to buy it,
it.
repossess it, turn around both of them. Then it would be dad's goal to get it off, to get rid of it. Cause I didn't like the idea of. Move something.
Yeah.
My worry is we refill it and then all of a sudden now it's ours. And now we got a $7,000 bill called George Furl, have a global hook on it with a big truck for $7,000. Taxpayers don't can pay $7,000.
So you said something about the police have had a lot of problems there. Have they had problems since he's been incarcerated, or was it all before that?
Okay, I don't,
I just wanted to make sure we weren't spending money on having the police go out there constantly, because that would be another cost to think about. Yeah, but not now.
um. I don't know.
We contact Dad. Bring it back to the meeting.
I would suggest not taking any action, just write it off. It's gonna get in more cost than it's even worth.
We've had property before that we didn't foreclose on because we didn't want to own it.
Right, it just sits. Cascade property, it's.
Sitting right there. Okay.
Now solar array. Date,
So just this week. Actually, end of last week, just got a application, that's simply, site review plan application for a solar array. It's so it says a 140-acre piece of property up towards East Pond Road, Montville, Thomasville Road. Top of there, there's 140 acres, it's owned by Birch Hill Nominee Trust. We signed a contract, a lease contract, and a contract with the development company. To put 2,739 panels. It's a pretty big solar array. And we're gonna visit that on the 7th, this
week after.
week after next. We are.
Reorder on Tuesday.
So it's one of the, it's a large one. I would say that it's gonna be in sight, maybe from the park that we have on the top of High Street, and you'll be able to see it from there. It's on Martin Hill, I think it's sort of this side. You'll be able to get section there, but it's all one, you know. It only says one phase right now, but it looks like the way that they designed it, it looks like there could be a second phase. So they're not using the entire 140 acres, they're using part of that. But it looks the way that they have it designed that it can spin and they can do a phase 2 on it. They normally don't phases on there, same thing. Well, want to give that heads up, what's coming down the road?
And I had sent, Yeah, I had sent you all information about a moratorium ordinance which would just pause. I mean, it says a moratorium is normally adopted by a municipality's legislative body for the purpose of giving municipal officials time to plan for accommodating or managing development that has been previously unregulated by the municipality. A moratorium ordinance is usually the only way a municipality can temporarily halt development for which it is unprepared for. I don't wanna see Oakland turn into a solar farm. We have two that right now that we can't see. We have one up on the transfer station, which is unused land. I know there are some concerned citizens and groups. The Lakes, Seven Lakes Alliance, East Pond Association, McGraw Pond Association, they're gonna be at that meeting at the planning board. Because we don't know what's running off these solar panels. Different types of metals, you can't recycle them. What's it gonna look like in 20 years when you have this massive field of metal that you can't recycle? I just, they're not attractive. We don't really reap any benefit. I mean, we get a little bit of tax money, but it's not worth cutting.
Woman,
I think in general, we've seen solar panel farms around us. And every time they put one in, the typical comment is, that was quick land for a little subdivision. Or they used to raise sheep on that. Or, we're limiting the use of properties. And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Moratorium makes sense, gives us time to, not let it get out of hand.
Pause.
Yeah.
Value.
Personally, I would say no right away. The moratorium would at least give us the opportunity to see how things are going, what's answers to your questions. What are they gonna do with these solar panels in 20 years when they don't work anymore? And right now, everybody's following you and say, we can get you 15% off of your electricity if you'll join us on our. I don't think they're any good.
talked to MMA about moratorium to see if we can do that, to.
We can,
I
they,
know you see the paper, all the towns have done it, but I never knew the exact outcome of it,
Very nice one. Very nice one.
Belgrade,
I would think this one out there on Mutton Hill, they're talking 140, 160.
140-acre parcel.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say the entire 140 parcel is going to be a solar array on this site plan. This site plan is, well, it's quite a lot, 2,700, so it's at least half of that.
some kind of an environmental assessment done because Mutton Hill runoff is right into McGraw Pond.
And he's,
I mean, it's right there.
yeah.
And the other side is East Pond.
Right.
So are you gonna take that big hill and cut the top of it all off, cut all the trees off and disturb the earth? And we have some runoff there that, those lakes are already in danger.
Right.
So I would think we'd wanna at least see if we couldn't require some sort of a evaluation. They're finding across the state, there's a lot of PFAS problems with the leaching of PFAS. Also, there's a lot of metals, heavy metals that are going in the ground. And they might tell you this, but I happen to know someone in the environmental chemistry world. And they also tell you right now that once the land is used for that, it will not be used again. It's done. That land is done because it's gonna be highly contaminated with heavy metals and then the PFAS, and it's loaded with PCBs and carcinogenics. And, it's cancer causing agent. And it's gonna leak right into McGraw Pond and East Pond, and it's not a good thing for the town. And they only work 15% of the time. So why do you want to put something up? Only works 15% of the time. And
How could they enter into an agreement before they even have a permit to do it?
well, it's a lease agreement. You can like it. Lease agreement for you, but it's contingent to
Oh,
permitting. And then if if you ever get a chance to read our site plan review ordinance, it does cover all of that, it does cover, erosion, stormwater management plan, and so on and so forth. They have a pile of engineers and lawyers when they put these packets together. As John knows, at the planning board. But we're very fortunate enough to have Boyd Snow that we've developed an engineer. And he comes to our meetings in regards to the stormwater management and whatnots, and he's a wealth of knowledge, and he kind of puts things into perspective. But we do have an ordinance in play. We have a solar array ordinance and site plan review ordinance, and if they check the boxes and they show the proof, then it gets approved.
I feel bad for the land of butters,
Yeah.
because they're all already true.
We're all gonna go to the planning board.
The first big one in Oakland is right down across the borders, my land on Fairfield Street. You can't see it from my house, but as soon as you go up in my woods, it's right there. Yeah. That's on the high side of my property, so.
So you have that one, and you have the one on Alpine Street that was just done. You have a big one going in on the ground, pretty much up off Town Farm Road, and there's also a large one being put up on First Market. So that's four pretty good size.
Your comment about leaching in the soil. Is the state aware of that?
Yeah, very much so.
Very much so. And why the devil do they keep on pushing? What more soil and that's paying for it.
You wanna get into the politics of it? I don't think we wanna go there, John.
Well, people sitting there and I have a discussion about
But I'm just saying, it's very political.
My
Very
was I think these people responsible once that 20 year or 25 years is over. That they're responsible for taking it out, taking care of it. Or can they just walk off and that's the end of it?
That's what they allow them to do.
Unless they put the money up front to take care of it afterwards, it ends up like this trailer that we don't wanna take over because we own it. Yeah.
Is there any reason not to start the process to write a moratorium?
No,
So it just gives us more,
not read more.
just gives us some backing to keep things quiet till we figure out all this.
Figure it out. Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason not to have a moratorium, it's really good look at it. I mean, again, we may not accomplish anything, but you're right, I mean, the people that put in these solar arrays and make all the money for the next 20 years, then in 20 years, if they should go bankrupt or something, you and I own those solar arrays. The town can repossess.
Great, here we go. We're doing it.
So I think it's bad for most reasons, but it's hard to fight the train that's leaving the station for all these solar arrays. People believe it. Well, we can slow it up for a while and just make sure that ordinances that we have are sufficient to do what we can for the people when it comes to solar.
The size, size restriction on. Here, the ordinance. Right.
Yeah, Mike, a good point. Can you require them to put money into an escrow account? Or when they do close? Good. Can they do that?
So it's in our ordinance that it's a performance bond. They have a number of what they think it's gonna cost to decommission it, and they do have a commission plan with this, and it tells me step what they're gonna do from crushing the concrete to recycling metals to selling the panels to so on and so forth, but they do have a decommission foreign hard for things about them. We have performance bonds, so I mean there is some money out there. So this one here, the performance bond, I think is $180,000. This is a $3 million project, a little over $3.5 million. $80,000 and say would cover the cost of decommission. It's not that's pretty safe. They have a formula.
And
So you're saying that if they tick all those boxes, we are required to give them the permit to go ahead?
Yeah, but some of those boxes are big, right? So some of those, like I was just saying, some of those boxes are, if you read our ordinance, it talks about stormwater, peak flows and whatnot, so. The flow that's going into the storm, what's called ditch or spawn road. The amount of water that's going into today cannot exceed that flow of development. Well, how do you get that? Well, there are ways. Control lines, brain components, and retention ponds, and so on and so forth. I don't see where that plan. So that's why these things keep on going and going, like, John, this won't be a 2 meeting, 3 meeting, 4 meeting approval, this will be a while. It's approved, you guys don't think that it's all in there. We have a really good planning board, okay? I feel that everything, we check all the boxes to make sure that we're towing the line when it comes to at least our ordinance. Yeah. Thank you.
Have we had any, where we have solar panels now, have we done any soil testing around those solar panels to test for, toxicity? Yeah.
no, I don't know, no.
Or you don't know that?
I was just thinking it's a good idea prior.
Yeah, no,
No.
because we really need to know if it is a real thing that it is leaching off or not.
I think that Alpine Street one just got up running.
Yeah,
One on Town Farm Road is on pause. Only they can't get. We don't wanna test at the transfer station, cause that's gonna.
so that's not, yeah, I'll say, yeah,
You know, that's gonna.
yeah. Well, because I was doing a lot of research on it today, and researched how they, with the lifespan of the solar panels done, how they break it down, and they use heat treatment and acid treatments to dissolve the glues and the adhesives. 75% of the solar panel is glass that is just purely recyclable, and then they separate out with the metallurgic acid, whatever thing to get all the heavy metals out of it. So I just, so people know, but.
So I'm not saying whether I favor any, I think the moratorium is correct right now, but we need to remember that. Unless I'm way off base, we're asking for us to go do soil testing on somebody else's property. We tried to get an ordinance that says you can't have an RV as your residence. And they're dumping sewer, we can't go do that, but we can't expect to walk onto somebody else's property
Right.
and test their stuff. I feel it's their property, they're gonna do what they do unless we have zoning or ordinances already in place. I don't think we can, after the fact, create an ordinance that says you can't do it, as long as they meet all the planning stuff. I would be upset if you said no, and it was my property that I was trying to do that to. I'm all with the moratorium, that would be just research, but
Right, so I say we have a public hearing for the next council meeting at 5:30. Or 5. To do the moratorium, then have a vote that night. Yeah,
We are in the process of looking at zoning.
there.
This coincides with that. We decide as a community, we don't want any more solar panels. Can we do that? I would think so. We have a moratorium on selling marijuana. Basically, people aren't allowed to use their property to sell marijuana. Outside that,
Some shots on each.
yeah. And you go through other towns near us and every border's got one. So I think this would be a analogous type situation that we should seriously consider.
We have time enough to post. To do all the legal mumbo jumbo for a public hearing and adopting moratorium.
this is not something new. Moratorium has been written all over the state.
Oh, yeah, Ellsworth, Athens,
So very.
Belgrade, yeah,
Do we have to have a public,
we think so.
We think so.
because in reading all the gibberish that they sent us. If you, it sounded like if you had a council, you didn't have to go to the public meeting, the council could make that decision.
The moratorium is a pause for 180 days to get us to, then we can extend the moratorium if we want to, so. We get back to, people in this guy.
Maybe by then the legislature will make this so they're not so lucrative. You know, that and the power bill won't be going so high every time they put one in or something.
Right?
So. It's a moratorium, but I think that during that pause of the moratorium. Is when an ordinance gets drafted, right, to do something. Because going back to what you said on the pot shops, that was a moratorium putting you an ordinance.
Right.
Saying that you should, just like having adult shops, right, so adult. What they call sexual oriented businesses or whatever it's called in Oakland, there's an ordinance on that too. So I would say that. The moratorium was made for the pot shops and then an ordinance was drafted.
Well, that was the moratorium for marijuana is the state law that gave the municipalities the opportunity to opt out of letting people sell, no different than state law gives communities the opportunity to outlaw the sale of alcohol. There is no state law that allows, I know, but then allows rooms to say, no, we don't want to be sold. Right. So it's a little different. So, but a moratorium will give us a chance to find out what we're doing is what we can do, or if there's more we can do. And somebody won't like it. That's what we want. Okay.
And we could extend it and then have a warrant article on a town meeting for the citizens. To vote nay.
And maybe our legislature will. Pass a law which allows us to do that with solar farms as it did for. Let's say, we might have a contact.
Not in the current climate.
Yeah. Anything else?
Or yeah.
Good, I'm all set, sir. Good.
I'm good.
Oh.
Motion we adjourn.
Motion made, second by. All this, it's like, oh, thank you. It's for you.
No, just me. Next call.